Thank you for joining me today. My name is Kende Ruth Anashiga, and welcome to Build with Pandora, a daily knowledge sharing session where I take you through, as a business owner, how to effectively and efficiently maximize your marketing efforts. Today marks day 16 of this series, and I'm very excited on how far we've come. We've touched on various topics. If you'd like to watch those videos, please feel free to go through our YouTube page, and you can also visit our LinkedIn page to catch a bit of a glimpse as well as snippets of summaries of some of these topics that we've touched on. Without further ado, I'm just going to go right into it, and we're going to kickstart the week with a topic that most entrepreneurs find difficult to have a conversation with, especially with line with business owners. So you own a business, you get a bit conflicted on how to allocate, certain resources to your marketing efforts. That's one of the questions we actually get within the agency. And I'm here to talk you through it and how to effectively allocate resources towards your marketing efforts. And I'm going to break this down as much as possible so it's easily assimilated, especially with regards to also providing feedback to your marketing team or to that person in charge of, your digital marketing effort or your experiential marketing effort or your SEO efforts or whatever it is. It's very important, especially within the economy that Nigeria is facing right now. All right. So let's get started. So I have my notes here, just to guide me so I don't, deviate from the topic. So when you're creating a marketing budget, what are those things that you need to look out for? What are those things that you need to consider? Very, very importantly, I'm going to start off which this is something we always do across, businesses that we actually have on board. Number one is the business goals of the organization. It's very important you understand what the business goals of the organization are or is for you to ensure that the marketing budget you create goes in tandem with their business goals. And I'm going to be citing case studies, real life examples as to how this can be done. So for business goal, right, you want to ensure number one is quantifiable. So that means that there are numbers behind it, quantifiable. Let's say, case in point, a business goal for organization can look like this. For 2024, we want to ensure that we make about, 5x of what we did in 2023. And 2023 can be maybe they made about $2,000. Right? They made $2,000 in 2023. So you're saying it's times 5 of that they do want to make in 2024. So having that business goals, having that business objective in mind, it helps guide your marketing objectives. So first of all, your business goals, very important. You define your business goals. What are the business goals of the organization? Maybe for a macro small business owner, it can look like this. I want to ensure every quarter I convert at least 500 customers. If you're selling product, you want at least 500 customers to buy your product every single quarter. The marketing objectives for that would look like this. Number one, especially if it's a business that is not known, number one, you want to ensure that you create awareness so people know that you exist within the market you play in. Number two, you want to ensure that you're generating leads. So if you're going to break down that 500 per quarter, what will lead look like, right? It may be a bit slow at the first instance, but once you gradually get the hang of it, it's smooth sailing from there, especially when it's effectively measured. All right, so I've touched on business goal development. I've deviated and touched on marketing goals for a bit. So we're actually going to talk about marketing goals now. So the second point is your marketing goals. So your marketing goals are derived from your business goals. So if an organization is saying that they want to convert or make at least 5x of $2,000 in this year, right? You want to ensure that in that regard, for marketing, you want to look at what is currently available within the company. Number one, is the company known within the marketplace? Number two, what are the other resources that generate leads within the company right now? So once you look at all these things, you now further break it down and in this regard, right? So you want to ensure that awareness creation, if there's a metrics that is currently there in which you use to measure right now, you want to put it at a certain numbers, because that number will give you an insight, or rather, how you can come up with that number is looking at the reports from the previous year. So, the last quarter of last year, what did it look like? How many people came on board via marketing channels, right? So, you use that number. So, let's say 2,000 people, 50,000 people, no, let's say 50,000 people came via social media, right? So, in the incoming year, because you have a number in mind that you have to meet, you have to ensure that that number measures up to the 2024 budget as regards to creating your marketing budget. So your marketing budget has to have all this in mind while you're creating it. So number one, your business objectives, right? Once you create once you have the business objectives, because I'm sure that's always done by, the higher ups and so on and so forth. Then you extract your marketing objectives from them, leveraging on the reports from the previous year. Very important. And if you do not have reports from the previous year, you pretty much will just start from scratch. That's fine. All right. It's just going to be a lot of learnings within the first 2-3 quarters, maybe. All right. But starting now is better than never having that sort of information. So once you've gotten your marketing goals, it's very, very important that you break it down into different phases, right? Especially if you're just starting out afresh, especially if you're just starting out anew. You want to ensure that number one, you have what level of awareness is currently had. If it's a business that actually has to do experiential marketing, what marketing channels, what marketing avenues have you explored within the experiential part of things, right? And what worked? If you don't have a report, that's fine. You just have to start from scratch. You have to enter the market, and maybe you want to start with OKRing, you want to start with Mile 12, you want to start with certain regions that you start building momentum. So at the end of the campaign, you also record, okay, we got this number of sales from this channel because we went using experiential marketing, and this is the amount that we spend. And you can use that same information literally every single quarter after that. All right. And we're going to touch a bit about how to prioritize your budget and how to effectively streamline your budget towards improving on things. All right. So thirdly is, who are you targeting? You have to bear in mind your target audience. Very, very important. Who are you targeting? Where are they? What platforms do they use the best? I've touched on experiential marketing, especially if it's a fast-moving consumer goods product that has to do with maybe edibles or food, snacks, things of that nature. If it's appliances like solar and so on and so forth, you want to ensure your experiential marketing effort is something that you can either demonstrate, one, two, obviously demonstrate the performance of the device, and two, ensure that it's an avenue where your target audience would be. So you're looking at the big conferences, you're looking at the seminars and so on and so forth, and also neighborhood, to be honest, because if your service offering as a solar company also has a feature or has equipment where apartments, houses within estates can easily adopt, you want to attend maybe neighborhood, what did I call it again? Not soirees, now that's evening, but neighborhood events, where they bring people together. You have schools and so on and so forth that you want to also be a part of. So it's very important while you're building your marketing budget, you want to understand, first of all, who are my targets in and where are they? Because once you know this information, it's easy for you to actually deduce your marketing budget from that in terms of how much you're going to spend across the channels. Now, for the fourth one is budget breakdown over defined avenues and timelines. Now, what does this mean? It's very simple. It's saying that over a period of 12 months, so by financial year, a period of 12 months, how much are you looking to spend every month? How much are you looking to spend every single quarter? How much are you looking to spend biannually? Things of that nature. It's very important to have that information as well. So it's very critical to know that every single month, this is the amount I'm going to spend, and this is the objective I want to meet, and this is the result I'm pretty much vying for at the end of the month. The quarterly on a quarterly basis is the same thing. While I used to head the financial company as a marketing and communications personnel, we did this per quarter. So every quarter we have a budget allocated, and we know quarterly what budget would perform better than the others because of the seasons, right? Back to school, people wanted to pay their rents, people traveling for summer. So we knew all this information. So while creating our marketing budget, we know how to, ensure that our marketing budget is higher in some quarters and some quarters is a bit lower. All right, so you would learn this over time. It doesn't happen at once. Over a period of time, you're going to start understanding how your audience responds to things, especially within the markets that you play in. All right, fifth point is define marketing timeline, rather define campaign timelines. You want to ensure that if you're running a campaign, right, like I mentioned back to school, so I'm going to use that example. If you're running a campaign, you want to ensure that you define the timelines, right? Because back to school does not, start in the month of January and end in December. No, there's a predefined window in which back to school happens. So you want to ensure that you maximize your budget for this period that this would happen. So you want to optimize for awareness, you want to optimize for leads. Very, very important. All right, so again, it's not open-ended. You want to define when exactly those campaigns will happen, and you pace your budget, pace your spend within those predefined timelines. Very, very important. So for the sixth one, it's very important you know how much each communication channels cost, especially with regards to budget. Some communication channels are not that expensive. They're not. While others have a definite fixed amount you absolutely have to spend. LinkedIn is one platform of the latter part of what I just said. They have a predefined amount you have to spend for your ads to be successfully run on those platforms. But there are other platforms that are more affordable. There are other platforms that may not give you the direct bang of your buck, again, because you have to predefine your audience. So once you've predefined your audience, you'll be able to know where are they, what are they talking about? What communication channels appeals to them, and so on and so forth. So if LinkedIn happens to be the communication channel where you find the bulk of your audience, you would have to use LinkedIn. You just have to ensure that once you have to maximize your budget for the platform, so the other channels of communications will not suffer. Because I bet you, especially for business to business solutions, there are other avenues that would equally perform great. YouTube remains one understated platform that performs really good for business to business organizations. All right, I want you to bear that in mind as well. So you want to ensure that the cost breakdown, for the channels that you're looking to explore, you understand it. Again, if you're starting this from scratch, it's going to take a bit of time, but trust the process. You would have an understanding of it, especially if you're consistent in your measurement. Over a 7-day period, what is the traction that you've gotten? How much have you spent? What has been the return on investment within those 7 days period? Now, bear this in mind when you're starting out a campaign, it takes about 14 days for the artificial intelligence, machine learning, if you like to call it that, to kick in and understand your ad, to show it to your target audience. So again, this is a bit of nuanced information. Not everybody would know that except you're fully in it. All right. For the 7th point is track your performance. I think I've mentioned that with each point at this point. So if you want to track your performance, how is your ad performing? How are your ads performing? How are your campaign performing? Even with experiential, even with going to conferences and exhibiting in conferences and seminars and all that, you want to ensure you track it. Absolutely. Why are we going there? What is the objective? Our target audience there. So give me a second. Our target audience, are they there? Is it something that we can ensure return on investment as soon as we come into the conference or towards the end, or is it after the conference? You have to define those parameters, because I believe if you are either a marketing enthusiast, so that means you work for a company as a marketer, or you're a business owner, you want to ensure that you defend your return on investment at every point in time. So tracking performance is very critical to the success of not just your campaign that is immediate, but those that will happen subsequently. All right. And the 8th and final point is, so you want to adjust your budget based upon certain criteria. I remember when I used to head another company, and while we hit every milestone, because obviously you have to defend your budget and all that, while we hit every milestone, we were given allowance to increase the budget, right? Because we showed that, oh, this worked and this is the performance and this is the return on investment. So we're given allowance to increase the budget. And when we did this, it's pretty much based upon these criteria. Number one, the performance. And when I'm talking about performance, you have to benchmark it under the goals that you set. Another is if you're going to adjust the budget at any point in time, you want to look at as the scope of the objectives change, as the company, maybe the business objective has changed in any regard. If it has changed in any regard, then definitely your marketing objectives is going to change. Then you have to ensure that you adjust your budget accordingly. It can be high, it can be low, it depends. Okay, on the objectives. And third and final point to consider when you want to adjust your budget is to ensure markets, socioeconomic factors, things of that nature, because they happen whether we like it or not. Case in point is during the December period. For some organizations, to advertise in December is a no-no because of the noise of the festivities. So you want to bear these things in mind, as well as the earning power of people. You also want to bear this in mind. So those are criteria if you want to adjust your marketing budget. So I hope this has been very useful information. I There's so much to share, so much information to share with regards to creating a marketing budget, but I've been able to, as much as possible, highlight the critical points to consider when creating a marketing budget. So thank you so much for your time, and see you tomorrow.